I don't know. Have you watched many of the interviews for this album?
I think I've watched them all.
I
The
watched
Radio
the.
1 one was brilliant. With
Oh, really? Who's that with?
I've never heard of the guy.
The
Show
red-haired guy.
you up?
Did he have like red hair or something?
Mm, maybe I can't remember what he looked like, but he, as opposed to a lot of interviews like the Zane Lowe one where he's just fucking kissing ass. This one, he's like, he knows about like sounds and production and stuff they've used in that, and you can tell Alex and Matt are just like really comfortable and impressed.
Okay.
So yeah, really good.
I listened to the Lamac one, but I'll have to listen to
Yeah,
that
same.
one.
Matt was a freak in that, I thought, a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't really ask. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird what or it's interesting what different interviewers ask, isn't it? But
Yeah.
he seems to ask a lot. Like I don't think anyone's really asked him about the tour much next year, but I suppose that's ages away. But because some of them, like you say, if they're comfortable, it's quite good. But I think Turner gets uncomfortable quite easily. Do you think?
Oh yeah. I thought the Joe Wiley one was good. I thought, did you listen to that one?
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah. It was basically like kind of quick questions for like 40 minutes.
Okay, all right.
They're laughing a lot in that one. Although she calls him Al throughout, and that makes me fucking cringe.
Too familiar, yeah.
And then plays Mardy Bum at the end. She's like, this is my song, like me, my kids, and all that. And like,
Oh god.
like nice one. Like we're all over that song, love.
But like, I always wonder, like a band of their size, surely, like, I suppose they've got a record label to appease, but
Yeah, but
I
it's an
reckon,
indie record label, isn't it? It's not even a major.
yeah. So like, I don't see how them posting on social media that it's out. They're obviously going to get a bit more interest from people doing interviews, I suppose, but they don't. I just think they don't really need to do it, do they?
No, but it's good they have. I'm glad.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously enjoy it.
As a fan, but yeah. Should we get cracking then?
Yeah, mate, sorry.
No, fine. Just save all this for the pod.
Oh yeah, well, recording, yeah. It's all getting in.
Good. Oh, we're recording now.
Yeah, all the car stuff going in, isn't it?
Oh, great. Okay. Great.
So I don't really know where to start. Obviously, the first song, I guess. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all kind of grown on me a bit. Like initially, obviously, I had the singles, which kind of got used to, and then yeah, when the album first came out, like I said to you, like Sculptures was a big one for me. But then, like any good album, you just go through phases where different songs are your favorites, kind of thing. Is that what you found?
Yeah, same. And ladies and gentlemen, or he, she's, and theys. Harry actually did a wonderful little cover, which I'm hoping he'll share one day. Sculptures Where Anything Goes, that he sent our group chat on WhatsApp, which is just called. Is it just called Monkeys?
Yeah, lowercase.
And it's got, of course, can't be. It's not very cool, is it, to use capitals? And it's I made the profile picture of Alex Turner, definitely chiseled up from about the AM period, or it might have been Tranquility period, where he was like hanging out with like Miles Kane and Lana Del Rey and people like that who I assume take a lot of drugs. But I have it
LA time, whatever.
Yeah, I have it on good word that he doesn't do that stuff anymore. So that's nice. But yeah, the album. So when There Better Be a Mirrorball came out, which is the first track on this album, and I think it's one that they said sort of, once they had that, I think that really sort of helped the album take shape, and that was the format after that. there's something they've been saying that's really interesting, and every interview they've done around the album, they pretty much everyone I've seen Alex Turner say this was that they wanted to take the momentum from being on the road and make this album very much AM Part 2 and do a sort of live thing. I think Suck It and See is the only album that they've recorded like as live, as in they just recorded it in a room as if they were, playing a gig or doing band practice. And then, James Ford, the producer, their longtime partner, who's produced, I think, every album they've done. I know Josh Homme did half of Humbug, but
I think it might have been different for the first album, but yeah.
First as well. Sorry, yeah, you're right. So but what they wanted to do was like that live thing and that sort of big rock like AM thing, because they wanted to just write an album quite quickly again and continue the momentum from, they were really enjoying finishing the sets from the Tranquility tour with Are You Mine? And I think that was the format they were going off. And then once they got to the studio and once they got to writing together, or Alex just writing, I think he said it basically felt kind of lame to do that, and it just felt forced. And then, I've heard a lot of songwriters talk, like him, Matty Healy, someone else. There's like 3 or 4 people weirdly in recent interviews who have all just been talking about following your instinct and following your gut and doing, never doing what's sort of expected of you or what you think you should do, just going with what your gut tells you, which is great, which is why I don't understand people who, hate bands like Arctic Monkeys, or the 1975 sort of progressing and changing with each album. But yeah, when Mirrorball came out, I was kind of surprised, but I loved it straight away. Like, I fell in love with that song. I think arguably would be in my top 20, 30 Arctic Monkey songs ever. And that was before I heard the album, the rest of the album. But it's weird, isn't it, with singles? Because I don't sort of, the songs that I've been saying are my favorites on the album have been ones I've kind of freshly heard. But if I was to look at it all back in 6 months' time or a year's time, this would definitely be my top 2 or 3 songs off this album. I just think it's beautiful, and the way it starts, I like how they've come out with a first single where there's no vocals for like a minute, and it's this crescendo of strings and this build up of tension. And obviously that first lyric, don't get emotional, that ain't like you. Yes, yesterday's still leaking through the roof, which is a great way to start an album. I was chatting to he's a music journalist yesterday, and he's a massive Arctic Monkeys fan, and he was just saying how he doesn't think the lyrics from Tranquility, Base Hotel and Casino, sorry, that's my door, will ever be topped. Like, that's his best moment lyrically, and it's a bit of a concept album, isn't it, as well, obviously. And I do think when he said that, I was like, yeah, I think Humbug's the best lyrically. AM's very much a pop album, even though there's always great lyrics, there's always great moments. Favorite Worst Nightmare, as I think I've spoke about this for you before. I did, didn't I, when I spoke about that album? The lyrics House is a Circus are fucking genius, and 505, Do Me a Favor, Fluorescent Adolescent, even, like, very funny and clever and tongue-in-cheek. But I don't think the lyrics on this one are as strong as Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, because he is, the man is a genius, there's no two ways about it. But I think we'll probably realize how good the lyrics are after like 10 or 20 more listens. Do you know what I mean? Because some of it seems quite scattergun and like unrelated. Like there's just a line here, a line there, which is fine.
Yeah. I think Steve Lamacq made a good point. He's like, it's very lean on lyrics. Like,
Yeah,
I think he's spot on there. It's like, less is more or whatever kind of thing. It's on some of it.
yeah,
And I think some of the lyrics make more, like you say, the more you listen to it, the more it makes sense. Like Sculptures at first, I wouldn't have like put together anything, but recently, like more I listen to it, the more it's like, I feel it's about them moving away from what people expect of them. It's like, what's it? Puncher in your bubble of relatability.
Oh yeah, I love that
stuff like you can tell it's about them, yeah, moving away. And the fact the whole song is obviously like totally different to anything they've done. I think.
Yeah, a lot of the lyrics in this album are a big fuck you to everyone,
which is great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why they've stayed so solid together for so many years, because they've always, I mean, in our eyes, probably exceeded expectations, but in a lot of people's eyes, not reached expectations, because a lot of people just want that garage rock indie sound from the first album.
Yeah, like after Reading and Leeds, I know people that were like fuming about it. You're like saying like they felt really felt really let down by the performance or whatever. But
what?
I think because of the set list, I think the set list now kind of it's hard to not sound like an knobhead, isn't it? But it won't appeal to casual fans, I don't think.
No, and I suppose it is their duty at Reading and Leeds to just play the hits, really, like when you headline a festival, especially when you've been away for so long, and that was before the car was released. But I think I watched most of that or all of that set. I thought it was like still full of bangers, right?
Yeah, I think it was just poor opinions, to be honest, but yeah.
They're not going to do Fake Tales of San Francisco, and they might have done it, but I can't remember. But they're not going to do, half of that first album again, are they?
No.
Picking up on what you said before about that lyric in Sculptures, they follow that theme of the sort of fuck you, although in more of a somber manner on Big Ideas, and that song specifically seems to just be about the band, about Arctic Monkeys, and about those four blokes who have been mates since they were 11, 12 years old. And it almost seems like a farewell, which is kind of sad in a way, and I don't think this is a farewell. But hold on.
Yeah, that seems to be a bit of a narrative in some of the interviews. It was like,
yeah,
so
where they've got that from.
Yeah, weird.
I don't know if there were like rumors about it, or I don't know if there was some industry rumors about it where that we don't know about, or if it's just journalists, looking into the lyrics far too much. But well, here it is. Oh yeah, okay. So the chorus is, "I have big ideas. The band was so excited, the kind you'd rather not share over the phone. But now the orchestra's got us all surrounded." Literally the orchestra, because of this album. I think that's it. And I cannot for the life of me remember how they go. And then verse, coordinated release, nationwide festivities. I'm taking from that, it literally means music festivals, and nationwide praise as well. We had them out of their seats, waving their arms and stomping their feet. Some just hysterical scenes. The ballad of what could have been, over and out. Really, it's been a thrill. I mean, that does sound like a goodbye, doesn't it? Sounds like a fuck you goodbye. Like see ya.
No, it makes more sense now, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like, they were the biggest band in the world during the AM period, and but at the same time, like, why should they ever do that again? Why would they go back to that?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this because obviously we've chatted before, and I said I think AM ranks as number one in some aspects in terms of impact, but it's actually I wouldn't choose to listen to that album now. Like it's
No,
one of the least interesting.
I agree. Yeah, the ones I choose, the ones I still go back and listen to, are Humbug, Favorite Worst Nightmare, and Tranquility. And Tranquility, I wasn't like, for some reason, I'm quite surprised actually, because when you look back at Tranquility, like there is some massive songs on there, like, you know, big choruses and that, four out of five, and not loads of big choruses, but you know.
Mm.
But this one had a way more immediate impact on me. Like I loved it straight away. And
Yeah.
now I took a step back from it after listening to it like 5 times in the first few days. I still love it, and I still think it's a brilliant album and better than at least two of their albums. But I'm also going back more to Tranquility and thinking like, God, that was a good album, because it really didn't. That's what a good band does. Like it really uh didn't strike me first time, and it took
Mm.
me a while to sit with that one. And now it's, you know, my second or third favorite probably.
Yeah. I wonder if like I don't know, like they've got so good at doing that now. Like I wonder if that's just what happens when you get really good at songwriting, where it's like layered in a way where it's not instant or whatever. Or if it's
Yeah,
like or if it's a deliberate thing. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, that's like I said before. I think that he is just following his gut, but
Mm.
at the same time, my only complaint about this album would be it could do with one or two more choruses. Like, and I am a sucker for, you know, hooky songs and catchy songs and like poppy choruses. And you know, it's not, bands shouldn't. I love it when bands come up with different ways of writing songs, and it's still being catchy and memorable without there being a chorus. I'm just asking for one or two. That's all. That's all.
Yeah. I do quite like the fact it's 10 songs as well. There's something
I
good
love
about
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's cool.
What's the second song? So
Second one.
Mirrorball in summary. I love that.
No, it's still on the first one, are
Well, yeah,
we?
we could be. I need to get back to work at some point.
No, we
I,
don't have to analyze every song, but
I can do. I ain't quite where I think I am quite quickly. In for for me, like I'm I'm not in love with this song. I know you and our friend Tom Markham really like it.
I'm getting
It's
there with
just
it,
the
yeah.
fact it's. I like the idea of them doing, you know, that sort of funky, like Prince-esque guitar sound, but yeah, it sometimes sounds like it's a bit forced. And Alex said this on one of the videos that, oh, he found a pedal that he hadn't used for ages, and that's where it came from. And my band Church Party are writing this song, which is quite funky in a way. It's kind of like it's kind of accidentally similar to like maybe Favorite Worst Nightmare, Humbug era, Arctic Monkeys. I say accidentally. I probably rob from him all the time, but he put that sound effect on, the similar sort of sound effect that Alex Turner has on that song, and I just said like, nah. It looks like we're just copying it. Another white indie band have done it, so now it's made it okay to use like funky guitar sound.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you shouldn't explore it. It just sounds a bit like, oh, I found this pedal, so I'm going to stick this in here.
yeah. No, I know what you mean.
But I do love on that song. I think it's one of the best moments on the album. Like the wow, is it
yeah,
wow?
yeah.
It says,
Is it just wah? I don't know. Yeah.
is it wow?
I'm not sure. It sounds like wah to me, but
Okay, I'm just looking through the lyrics. Carry on talking. Sorry, I'm
that's all
just
right.
seeing if there's anything I want to say is brilliant or slag off. There's not much to slag off there.
You didn't seem. Were you as taken with sculptures as like I was?
No, I was.
Yeah.
I don't think I told you enough how much I love that.
Yeah.
That is that again, that's another one like Mirrorball, and we'll come to my favorite two from the album, because they're both later on. But yeah, that Sculptures is fucking amazing. Like, I think it was either you or, again, I love that I keep talking about Tom Markham, like people who listen know him. You should get him one day so they can get to know him. But
well, he's not even a pitch in the tight camp, so.
Is he? Is he not?
No.
I need to. I'm not either.
No, yeah, but you're doing your bit, aren't you? So.
My dad is though, because he wanted.
Right.
Did you?
So I was like, it must be related to Ian Stewart. Yeah.
Oh,
big up
he
Ian.
enjoyed it a lot, actually.
Nice
Which I'm surprised about, because every time I go back home and see him, I can tell within half an hour I'm doing his head in by how much I talk, mainly about cricket and football. But yeah, I think it's Tom or you who said it's very Blade Runner, and that was the first thought I had. That was or it might have been on your review that I watched on YouTube, but it's instantly, and Blade Runner is now, I watched it properly. I've tried to watch that film about 2 or 3 times in the last 10 years, and I'd either be probably in my drinking days, I'd probably just fall asleep watching it or whatever. Anyway, I watched them back to back, the first and the second one, about a month ago. And it's now the screensaver on my phone. I saw a poster of it at my mate's last night and took a picture. Like, I'm fully obsessed. And I love that there's, my top 5 Alex Turner lyrics of all time, and the cadence and delivery of it as well. What do you mean you've never seen Blade Runner?
Yeah.
Which is genius. It's just so good.
Do you watch Westworld by any chance?
No, Rich loves it. My brother.
The latest series of that Sculptures it reminds me a bit of that as well.
Right, yeah.
Because it's I'm Rich will know what I want about it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I love that he's continued that theme, but not lyrically. They've put it in a song this time. I should stop saying he, because I've seen on 2 interviews now where he fully credits this song to Jamie, and Jamie Cook is someone who gets. You said this on your review, didn't you? Jamie Cook's someone who gets a hard time, especially between me and like my mates. I'm in a group chat with loads of my mates from Stoke, and all of them, we've either been in bands together or, we've all been in bands or are in bands currently. And everyone, it's really funny. I won't read out what was said, but people just saying he's got the easiest job in music, Jamie Cook, and things like that. Which it looks like on stage, because they've got 2 extra members of the band. I don't know their names, but they play with them live.
Yeah.
And any difficult guitar line, unless Alex is playing it, one of those 2 does it. Jamie just does the odd like the odd single.
I know what you mean, yeah.
But it's
they probably introduced the whole idea of, is it a Moog?
Yeah, well, that was it. Yeah, he bought the Moog. And apparently he's just a massive like music nerd, like behind the scenes. And even though he's not technically, I'm going to say he's technically actually pretty poor. Like I'm a far better guitar player than him, and I'm pretty average. but he brings a lot in terms of, he was the one in the first place who showed the rest of the band the Strokes and other things when they were all listening to, hip hop or just Oasis, and so and I think Zane Lowe said to Alex, he's like low key the cultured one of the group, and so he provided that Moog that I think they put the drums through it, and I think they put the guitar through it, and he obviously comes up with a lot of that stuff in the background. And I think Alex also said when they were doing the interviews around Tranquility Based Casino, Hotel and Casino, that Jamie was the first one to like come to his house and do the demos and write with him, and came up with a lot of the ideas. So it's really nice to know that, like, that it's not just Alex, and that Matt Helders does Matt Helders things, and he can do subtlety, he can do John Bonham-esque stuff, he can do fucking drum and bass style drumming, and he says this sort of stuff like this in Tranquility is more challenging, which is also really interesting to know. But it's great that they're still a band and they're all contributing ideas.
Yeah. I remember Turner saying about the last album, he kind of referenced, I don't know, being not anxious, but like showing Jamie the songs. He was like, he wasn't sure what reaction he was going to get, kind of thing. So it's like, it's obviously a big deal what they all think, as it would be. But...
Of course, yeah. Fucking hell, like, you know, I can relate to that because I bring, like, I think the last 3 or 4 band practices we've had, I've bought. It's either like I'll just flat out bring a song and I'll have it fully written and be like, you lads just add your parts to it. This needs to do this here. Like, Rich, I wouldn't mind a bass line that sounds a bit like this here, and then they do their own interpretations. But yeah, the last 3 or 4 band practices I've bought like a new song each time, and sometimes I'll just start playing the riff or whatever in the background and see if they notice and ask what it is.
This sort of thing. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been messing about, lads. Oh.
Yeah. I just genuinely, sometimes I just be like, I just came up with this now. It's like working on it for 10 hours throughout the week.
Some real specific effects on it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know that feeling. It's fucking like, and luckily they haven't disliked any of the songs I've brought to them recently, but there have been times when I've had that where they've not liked them, and yeah. But yeah, this song is well up there because I've never heard them. The only disappointment I have is that they've not followed this theme a bit more throughout the album.
Yeah, I know what you mean, actually.
I love this, and you probably feel the same because it's your favorite track, isn't it, off the album?
I mean, I'd have to say so at the minute, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to go from that to jet skis on the moat, it's obviously quite deliberate, but it's just obviously like it's hilariously different.
Yeah. So my low points in the album are this and the car.
I'm getting more into the car, but yeah, jet ski is probably the one that I'm not.
Yeah, they just seem a bit filler, and they're obviously not. They obviously love them, and I know different people who love those songs.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
You know, that's just music for you, isn't it? But purely for the reason I've listened to the album 5 or 6 times, and I still don't know how either of those songs go.
Oh, really?
I couldn't sing them. No, I couldn't sing them to you right now. No, they've just not.
I'm getting more into the car. I think it's got some good hooks, like it ain't like that bit where it's like, it ain't a holiday until. It's kind of like.
Don't know what you're on about, mate.
Gonna get ragged for that. That's definitely coming back to me, that for singing that.
No way. I'm looking up the lyrics. But oh yeah, you go to fetch something from the car.
The cork. What's the lyric about cork pops? I mean, that is borderline comedy.
Travel-size champagne cork pops. And we're sweeping for bugs in some dusty apartment. The what's it called cafe. You can arrive at 11 and have lunch with the English. And
yeah, it's very Great Gatsby kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Like lyrically, ironically, I love both of those tunes. It's just, you know, the melody hasn't stuck yet, but I don't think they're shit by any means. I don't think they've ever written a shit song, to be honest. Maybe Don't Sit Down or I've Moved Your Chair, but I'll Move Your Chair.
You're not into that?
I love it, and I loved it. I love it live, but it's a bit daft, and like it's very. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like
it's just blatantly nonsense. I know what you mean, yeah.
That and Brick by Brick, but I love Brick by Brick because of Helder's singing on it. It's great,
yeah,
and it's very catchy. But no, I do actually like. I don't dislike. I'm trying to pick faults in something there's not something to pick faults in. But yeah, I did listen to this just before we got on, and yeah, the car did come out at me a bit more, but not jet skis. It's that sort of redundant to me. I don't think I've got anything to say.
No, I know what you mean. It's my least favorite at the minute for sure. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though, like you say, yeah, Hello You. I can't think what that goes like. Just off the top of my head. Yeah, I like that. Actually. Yeah, it's good. That actually. Yeah,
Well, that's
Did
my
well
second
there.
favorite.
Cheers for backing me up on the singing. Um, yeah, jet skis is probably so. Body paint. Been
Oh,
some amazing performances of that on TV.
I mean, body paint is this shows how, yeah, again, it shows how good they are. In that I was very like uh not meh, not sort of like meh about it, but Mirrorball hit me straight away because it's just beautiful. When this first came out, I was a bit like, fucking hell, there's a lot going on here, isn't there? Like, but wasn't sure about his vocals and that. But now, I mean, yeah, I feel like that's this album's equivalent of 4 out of 5 on the last album, because that's a banger. And again, I don't really know where I suppose the chorus is like the outro, like the still a trace
Yeah,
of,
when it all kicks back in there.
but I love that bit, and especially live. Do you watch Justin Hawkins? We spoke about.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw him talking about this song, Justin Hawkins.
Yeah, he's
And
excellent. Yeah.
he picked out something I really like, which is, I love it when the vocals sort of, you can't overdo it because, it would be silly, but it happens on Do I Want to Know pretty much throughout the whole chorus of Do I Want to Know, where the vocals follow the guitar line and it just lifts it up. And he does it on Body Paint with the on the outro bit, but not on the first bit. So it's sort of teased on the first time he says it, and then on the outro bit, he brings it in properly. That so predictable, I know what you're thinking, and he does the guitar line along with the
Oh, I
melody.
see what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
That's fucking great. I love that.
Yeah.
That song's just White Album. It's just Beatles White Album, which is my second, probably my third favorite Beatles album. But yeah, it's just like, it's a banger. It's a banger,
Yeah, yeah.
especially seeing him doing it live, like you say, on all the talk shows. It's translates live really well, even without the strings.
Mm. Yeah, and I enjoyed the video of, is it Mila Kunis? Is it? Do you see that?
No? Oh, what? Wait, is this the porn star?
Yeah, just saw a video of her on me pretending not to know her name. Who is it? But
I've always said Mila Kunis then. You know, the one off Family Guy and forgetting Marshall.
Yeah, I want to bought the porn star, to be fair. She just posted a video of her like dancing to it in a room, and it got like an amazing amount of reaction. But yeah,
I'm not surprised. I wonder why.
She just released that as a video. It'd be excellent.
I don't think Alex's lovely French girlfriend would be too happy with that. Jamie Cook, however, who is married to a former Page 3 girl, he
really
well into it. Yeah.
I guess the only ones we haven't talked about are the last two then. So Mr. Schwartz. And I wanted to ask you this question because Mark, who will listen to this, my mate Mark, he's been pointing out the fact that he and others think that particularly this song, Turner, sounds like Robbie Williams. I just wanted to get your take on that.
Well, I read a review actually that he sounds like they which review is it? I wish I could remember, but they say it sounds like Mick Hucknall. He sounds like Simply Red.
Well, that's another thing I was going to say, because I know someone that said that about Tame Impala. But he said that he basically used that as a reason not to like them. But it's not a reason not to like a band, is it? Because they sound like a pop. Because they sound like a pop group, whatever.
No, it's great. I mean, your mates were saying Mr. Schwartz sounds like Robbie.
Yeah, and he said he likes the album. He just said like thinks it's funny.
He does a bit, doesn't he? Now you said it. He does a bit, but that's no bad thing because I've seen Robbie Williams live. Like, I've paid to go see him.
Yeah, he had some amazing songs,
mate. It was top 5 gigs ever. Like, it was one of the best things I've ever seen.
How long ago was this?
This was at Cities at the Empty Had 2013 or 14. 13 or 14. I went with my two sisters. one of them's the editor of Five Live Drive, and the other is like owns her own business as a mortgage advisor. And they just both became like 12-year-old girls again. My older sisters, it was like these powerful women I really respect, and they just became like pathetic. They're like, so yeah, that's no bad thing to have that impact on people. But yeah, Mr. Schwartz is my favorite song from this album by distance, and I couldn't put my finger on why. But so it's like when I listen to it at midnight, and when it, as soon as it came out, you had it a bit earlier, didn't you? You got a VPN or something from Australia.
Yeah.
So from Big Ideas onwards, well, mainly I'll discount Big Ideas. I do like Big Ideas, but yeah, it's Hello You, Mr. Schwartz, and Perfect Sense, those last three. Because I feel their last two albums, AM and Tranquility, they've not finished as strongly as their albums. They'd always have like an epic end, wouldn't they? Like it would get kind of dark and intense, the last few songs of that, or even like positive and epic, Certain Romance on the first one, 505, which is preceded by If You Were There Beware, and that whole second half of Favorite Worst Nightmare is great because it's really moody. Like the first half feels like daytime, the second is nighttime, and then Humbug. What is it? Dance Little Liar? Is that the last tune on Humbug?
Let's have a look.
Oh no, I think it's Fire and the Thud, isn't it? Which isn't like massive, but then that's where you're wrong on Suck It and See, which is one of their biggest tunes ever, in my opinion.
It's the Jeweler's Hand, apparently.
Jeweler's Hand, right? Okay. But yeah, I was really happy with how this one ended. I thought the first three songs and the last three, I thought it was bookended really well. And then there's obviously Body Paint in the middle. But then you've got the car and jet skis, which I'm not fussed about, but also in the middle. But yeah, started and ended really strongly. But Mr. Schwartz I love just because of I think again, because it's quite white album. And obviously I'm a massive Beatles fan. It starts with that acoustic guitar. And it's just the melody that I really like. I love the melody and the lyrics. I think Alex said about it that it's Mr. Schwartz is if it's loosely a concept sort of thing, and there's this band that he keeps on talking about, which presumably is Arctic Monkeys or an alternate reality version of Arctic Monkeys. And Mr. Schwartz is like the guy who's like the head of the crew and all that, and he's sort of keeping shit together in the background. So I like that concept, but then just that melody line just really like gets me in the way that Secret Door from Humbug does as well, like that little like just the chorus bit, the Mr. Schwartz is staying strong for the crew, and it reminded me, I was like, what does that sound like? It reminds me of something, and it was Don't Talk by the Beach Boys from my favorite album of all time, Pet Sounds, which is one of the most beautiful, saddest songs ever. And there's a bit where he goes, Brian Wilson is like, it's not that similar, but there's a couple of notes in there that bring it together. And I know Arctic Monkeys are massive Beach Boys fans, especially. That's very evident on this album with the strings and the harmonies and the melodies. And that is a massive nod to the Beach Boys, which, Arctic Monkeys, Beach Boys, and Beatles sort of amalgamations are, I'm here for that. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm living my life for.
Yeah. I mean, it's some great opening lines on the album, like Mr. Schwartz, put your heavy metal to the test. Yes. Even like, ain't quite where I think I am. Like, Freaky Keep had really got into my head for some reason. Freaky Keep.
Yeah.
On the retina scan. It's just like,
it's mad.
It's and then too good.
Well, the last song, Perfect Sense, Richard of York, the executive branch. Having some fun with the warm-up act. The lyrics of that, there's no chorus. But but it's only three very short verses, really, and it's quite a short one. But I heard a couple of reviews saying like it was sort of a disappointing ending, but I thought it was a lovely ending to the album. I really like Perfect Sense.
Yeah, it's quite a deliberate ending as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know what your favorite lyric is off the whole album.
Wow.
What
Fucking hell. It might have to be
do you
one
think
from.
of the Subutio cloak lyric?
Yeah, I enjoyed that, but that was a bit of a spoiler for me because I heard that on Lamach pointed that out before I'd heard the song.
Same,
They
yeah.
didn't have the same kind of impact.
That's what pissed me off about the Lamach interview. He was so confused by that lyric. And then this Radio 1 guy who interviewed them, just like, I reckon he probably heard Lamach like absolutely fucking that up. And their explanation, although it seemed like a bit of a press junket, it seemed because they're wearing the same clothes. I think they might have done them all on the same day, so maybe not. But yeah, someone else, I think it was the Radio 1 guy, was like, I love that imagery. Like, and then he explained what it is, someone put in the green felt carpet on the sort of cloak. And I was like, oh, great, you got that then. It's like, yeah, fucking hell, Lamach didn't. What's this? What is this so-called Subudio cloak?
That is spot on impression.
My wife just left me. Okay, next we're going to play Big Thief.
Fucking hell. God. I'm going to go with, in a bit of a weird situation. There's a charity person knocking at the door, but they've just seen me.
Oh, God, you can go and let them in if you want.
I might just do a Carl Pilkington and just stay still. But I'm going to have to go with favorite lyric for time being. I'll go with still wondering if your mother. Oh, what is it? Whilst wondering if your mother still ever thinks of me.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, enjoyed that one.
Oh God, that might be mine as well. Actually, I was talking to someone like 3 days ago about how much I love that lyric.
It's one that when you start thinking about it, it's one of those things that where I don't know, it's something you'd never. Yeah, I think everyone can relate to it in some way.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, we've all shagged a mother at some point. I don't think I have, actually.
Is that what Lamach said?
Oh, look, Alex, we all get it. We've all slept with a mother at some point.
Lamach from Melbourne, or?
Yeah, I don't know. That went a bit weird. I really like on Body Paint that whole. Body Paint's, even though it sounds like one of the more upbeat ones on the album, it's a song about being cheated on, which is fucking sad and beautiful.
Is it? Right.
Yeah.
I heard that, actually, I think, yeah.
I believe so. This whole second verse, my teeth are beating and my knees are weak. It's as if there's something up with the wiring. You can poke your head behind the mountain peak. Don't have to mean that you've gone into hiding. Really love that. Really love that. And yeah, I mean, before we close it off and have to stop being weird blokes talking about favorite band in our room. I'm joking.
No.
Yeah, Hello You. I wanted to just say that. I think I love that Beatlesy guitar sound, that riff on it, that which I did try and replicate before, but
you can imagine them playing it on the rooftop type of vibe, innit?
Yeah, it's very White Album, Let It Be, era Beatles, and there was maybe a lyric that I love from that. Oh yeah, as the meandering chapter reaches its end and leaves us in a thoughtful little daze, this electric warrior's motorcade shall burn no more rubber down that boulevard. Read the message I left you on the thank you card. And then overtaking the tractor, which reminded me of that fucking
he was not happy.
Yeah, and I reckon, honestly, genuinely, because of how much they like, even though they're not sort of real, as out and proud about their club or their football, as Oasis, for instance, were. I think that judging by what they've said as well, that they were watching the Euros throughout recording us, I think they are massive football fans. And I genuinely, it might be a reach. I'll ask him when we're headlining Glastonbury with him in a couple of years, but I reckon he is referencing that because of the little Subbuteo reference as well. I reckon he might have actually thought that's a funny little thing.
No, definitely, because that was like what 2006 or something.
Yeah, maybe a couple of people like us will get it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, no one's asked him about playing Hillsborough, from what I've heard.
I know.
I'd like to know how big a moment that is for them.
Yeah, I mean that's massive, isn't it? They're doing 2 nights there, aren't they?
Yeah, it'd be good to see him there actually. But I'm already going to 2, so.
Which one's he going to? We're going to Old Trafford, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm going to London.
Oh yeah, I'm all my mates from uni are going to the Sheffield one because I went to uni in Sheffield.
Really?
So
my mates have been trying to get. My mate's been trying to get Glastonbury tickets with no luck, but I won't be doing
Richards
that,
as well. Are you going?
Nah, that's 5 days. It's just
no. Especially with the ticket. Like people were moaning about. I think the ticket price hike is totally justified, and everything is more expensive now. Like it's not nice, and it excludes way more people. It makes Glastonbury even more middle class, but. I mean, the bands will be wanting more money. Like, everything will be cost. The sound engineers will be charging more. Everyone's having to charge more. If I'm having to charge more as a freelancer, I'm sure everyone's doing the same thing. So it's kind of justified, and it is value for money. It's like the best thing you'll ever probably go to in your life, really. So, and Arctic Monkeys are like 1 to 10. I think they've all pretty much slipped it in an interview that they are headlining. So,
right, okay.
It's gonna be worth it. But
I always thought it'd be good if they showed it in cinemas. Like,
yeah,
if they showed Arctic Monkeys headline set in like a independent cinema, it'd be brilliant.
Well, we'd go, wouldn't we? It'd probably sell out.
Yeah, I'd pay £10 for that or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, I looked at a couple of reviews. NME 5 out of 5, Pitchfork 8 out of 10. One you sent was 6 out of 10, wasn't it? I can't remember where that was from.
Yeah. And then there was that one, I don't think it gave it a rating, that one that you or Tom sent quite early on. That it was, what was it saying again? We were kind of like not laughing at that review, but we were a bit like, do you know the one I mean?
Yeah. I can't remember what he was saying. He basically, he caveated it all by saying, but in 6 months, I could be absolutely different opinion, yeah. Which is fair enough. But off the bat, I'd be going for a 9 out of 10, I think.
Yeah. What did I say to you initially? Did I say a 9 a few weeks ago?
9 out of 5.
I think I said, I think like an 8.6. If we're going pitchfork,
yeah.
And we can do decimals, it's between an 8 and a 9. It's between an 8 and a 9 because production-wise, it's like, I don't think you can say one bad thing about it production-wise, lyrically. And the more I read, to be honest, this is the first time I've read them out, and the more they're making sense, and the more I'm starting to retract my earlier statement. They seem a bit scattergun. I think it's pretty deliberate, most of them, and there is probably a theme behind that intertwines throughout the songs. And and his vocals, like I know some people are taking the piss, and obviously the influences, there's a bit of Beach Boys, bit of Scott Walker, quite a lot of Bowie, quite a lot of Beatles.
It seems to be rubbing some people up the wrong way, his new voice, but I really like it. I won't say his new voice, but the way it's like
he fucking sing. He can sing, yeah. And again, this like, I'm never ever would I compare myself to him, but like I'm just saying from someone in a band's perspective, like when Church Party first released stuff in like 2016 or whatever, and we produced our own stuff, all I wanted was to like drown it in reverb and echo and delay and have my voice really low, because I really began to hate my voice. I just didn't know how to sing my songs, basically.
Mm.
This time round, like everyone who's heard our new songs been saying, like, oh, I can actually hear what you're saying now. Like you're enunciating, you're singing it like sort of higher and with more control. And I think that is something you don't become, especially when you're young. When I was first in bands, like 18, 19, you just fucking hate it. You can't listen back to your voice. And then that mid period in my like 20s, I was like, oh, we'll just, make it sound like the National or do it really low and put it deep in the mix. And now we've got a producer who's just like, no, you're not bad at singing. Like, you're not shit. Like, like you think you are. So I think voice is like, obviously probably the most important, the thing that people first listen to with any band or song or singer or songwriter or whatever.
Yeah, that's the difference maker. Yeah.
And I think, can you still hear me? I've just
Yeah.
connected someone accidentally. Oh yeah, that's better. I can hear myself. But it's something that you don't really, his voice is totally different to what it used to be. And that's fine. That's great. It shows progression and evolution, shows he's been, working hard on it and playing it with more. And this is a cliche, but it's more of an instrument. It's more of its own instrument in this album and the last one. And he's got a great voice and he's got a lot of range, and it's there's more personality to it. It's interesting. It's funny. It's sad. It's beautiful in parts. And yeah, I get where the complaints come from. I don't think he sounds American anymore like he did on AM. Like people, I never thought he sounded that American. There was a few interviews where it was a bit, it grated even me up the wrong way back then. But he seems to,
yeah, he's playing more of a character then, wasn't he?
Yeah. But yeah, I love it. I think he's got a brilliant voice, and it translates really well, and it sort of it befits the songs really well and benefits the songs as well in this album.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, mate. That's a nice hour. So
lovely. Enjoyed it, mate.
No, definitely.
Monkeys all day long. Sure, you're the same. You've actually got a bit of a Turner tranquility-based goatee going on. Right?
It's mental because I can't. Yeah, this isn't like indeliberate. Everyone thinks it's a deliberate goatee, but I just don't grow hair on the side of my face.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And yeah, I know a few people like that. It looks good though. I'm not slagging it.
Cheers, mate. I'll take that.